I'm pleased to present our panel for this session, starting with Damian Greathead from Receipt Bank, and followed by John Higgins, and followed by Garrett Wagner, and I'll have each of them introduce themselves briefly to you.
Gail, thank you very much. My name's Damian Greathead. I'm with Receipt Bank and basically focused on helping accountants implement Receipt Bank and cloud accounting tools to really leverage the technology so that they can make the most of it, grow their practice, deliver an awesome experience to their clients. And that's what I do. I've been working with the accounting industry for the last 15 years, helping them leverage all of the technology to really deliver efficiency within the accounting practice, but then also deliver that experience to the end client. Or customer, as we learned from Ed, sorry.
I'm John Higgins with CPA Crossings. We're an organization that specializes in helping CPAs and financial professionals to leverage all things technology. And we're not tied to any particular solutions. We're really more as an advisor to the accounting profession and all things technology.
Garrett Wagner. I provide innovative solutions to today's CPA firms to help them ignite lasting change. And I'm glad to be back on this panel this afternoon. So hopefully you've been tuning in all day and going to check it out the rest of the day.
We are so glad you're here. Thanks, everybody, for your introductions. And we're here today to talk about apps we love, in particular apps relating to productivity. About 3 years ago at the magazine CPA Practice Advisor, I started a monthly column called Apps We Love, and it's become extraordinarily popular. And every month we feature different types of apps that we want to share with our audience, and we generally survey many of our readers and members of our community to share their favorite apps with our audience. So it's been fun working on that column. And each month we do a different type of app. So sometimes we've done personal finance apps. In the last Christmas time, holiday time, we did online shopping apps. And so some of them are business related, some are not. But each month there's a different theme. We actually have not done a particular theme on productivity, so we're going to resolve that today by covering a lot of productivity apps and find out which ones might be helpful to you. So I'd like to start by asking our panel, what do we mean by productivity?
I guess, Gail, productivity, when I think of productivity, I'm thinking of, I have a product, I have an output, and what I'm trying to do is measure the amount of resources going into that. So let's talk about productivity related to accounting products. A tax return requires an enormous amount of resources to get that produced. So if we're thinking about productivity, how can we get more out of the resources that we have available? Time is probably one of the biggest resources and the most limiting resources that we have. So how do we leverage technology to get more out of the time that we have available? So that's what I'm thinking about when I think productivity.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would say to measure productivity, a simple way to do it is looking at a particular process, whatever that may be, preparing a client engagement letter, getting source documents into a tax return, and saying, okay, what steps in this process can I remove by automating? And virtually any process in a business today or an accounting practice has some level of opportunity to remove some steps in the process through automation. So that's how I'd measure it.
Yeah, I think that's a remarkable thing today. There's so many opportunities for automation. It's almost overwhelming from what it was 5 years ago. We're so manual driven. If you had to get the actual documents from the client and put them in by hand, and now that's almost completely gone away through amazing channels for automation. And it just increases our productivity and allows us to do more exciting things with that data.
Well, I think that's the interesting thing is if I can get the debits and credits done, get the tax return prepared, that means it frees up time to spend on the value-add activities, which I think is the real opportunity for accountants to maximize their use of those apps.
So in an accounting firm, what are some typical pain points that accountants run into where there might be, or maybe even might not, maybe they haven't been developed yet, but they're pain points where apps or some kind of technology would be really helpful?
Go for it, John.
Okay, well, I would say one area is just the whole aspect of communication in a firm. And, of course, we all use email and use it extensively, but there's a lot of inefficiency just in email communication. So, we talk to firms about, you really should be looking at using instant messaging more. We're starting to do a lot with Microsoft Teams as just kind of a central point of collaboration that kind of mixes interactive chatting with what they call persistent chatting. It's just a lot of opportunity to make communications more efficient. And as a metric, you could say, okay, let's try to really measure how much are we decreasing at least our internal email conversations. So that'd be one example.
And that's a great point because we get so much clutter in our email. It's almost overwhelming, and there's more and more email spam, phishing attacks. So if we can take out a big chunk of that email through Instant Messenger, Microsoft Teams. I mean, Slack's another great one that's come from nowhere. It is just a huge user base. Yeah. Can we take that out and free that up? And once again, it's not a cutting edge thing to use Instant Messenger, Teams, those type of things. I know some firms I hear from, they say like, I don't feel like we want to have an Instant Messenger program in our firm. That's too cutting edge. That's really not cutting edge today.
No.
I mean, we all do that on our phones. I mean, everybody texts nowadays.
Absolutely, and I think email is just absolutely getting cluttered with everything. You're CC'd on everything, you're BCC'd on everything. So whether that's the source documents coming from clients, whether that's the communication back and forth with clients and internally, what we've found is if we can remove the documents coming into individuals' inboxes and put them into one location, that eliminates an enormous amount of email almost immediately. And what it also means is it takes out of your inbox and puts it in one central location for everything to come in, which I think that's a huge productivity hack available to accounting firms right now. I love messaging, and that's one of the things that we've also been focused on is there's so much back and forth and so much lost time when we're talking to clients about what was this for? Did you send it? Did you get it? What was this expense for? Which client should this be associated with? So bringing in that messaging to a mobile platform for clients is critically important as well.
And it can really enhance your client relationships. If you give them the opportunity to be connected with you through instant messaging, they're not going to waste your time. But boy, you really have the opportunity to strengthen that relationship because they can get in touch with you when they need to. And so it's a little toe in the water to really leveraging some of this technology to take that step.
And especially if we can do it in a more uniform way, because a lot of our clients are going to text us no matter what.
Yep.
If you say, please don't text me, they're texting you. And it's not easy to get that text trail into your software, into your document management system, have that record, or if you use a more formal channel, you have that to look back upon.
Right.
So they're already there. We just need to get there on our side.
You know, I think this is a perfect example, just because communication is something everybody's got. So whether it's email or whether it's texting or whether it's within an app or a program that's already there, we all communicate with our clients, with our colleagues, probably with friends and family too. But if we just look at the business relationships we have, I think the place to start is taking it back and taking a step back and looking at what's causing the pain. Where is the pain point? Mm-hmm. Because in some cases it might be dealing with clients and not getting information turned around quickly enough. In some cases it's overloaded email boxes. In other cases it's texting is a problem or texting isn't a problem. And I think that this is just one example, the email and the communication problem, but if we take any kind of problem or pain point like that and take it back to the very beginning and really discuss where is the pain, what's causing the pain in that, we can then start looking for the alternative. Because for email, for example, there are probably 50 alternatives out there for different things you could do, whether it's an instant messenger or a texting or intra-program or different email options. So
I think you could probably take and identify that pain point that you're trying to solve. So the pain point might be my client's not responding in a timely manner. The pain point might be my inbox is overflowing with large files. It might be I've gone on vacation, my team doesn't have access to the data. So I think that's probably a good place to start, is what are the pain points that this umbrella of email is causing? And then I think you can find individual applications which solve that problem and bring that together in a platform to communicate effectively.
Mm-hmm. And if you apply that technique to any other kind of problem you're having in your business, it's the same thing, just by taking it back to the very fundamental stages of where the pain is occurring and what's a problem. Is a good way to start in terms of determining what problem you need to solve. Mm-hmm. We're going to take a really quick break here, just for a moment, to have a message from Receipt Bank, and also we'll be back right after that message with your first CPE code for this session, so don't go away.
So, are you sick of spending time manually entering data and chasing clients for receipts? Well, what if you could be more profitable and make your clients happier at the same time? Okay, imagine being 5 times more productive and having the time to provide higher value services. At Receipt Bank, we save you valuable hours by making bookkeeping effortless. So all your client has to do is snap a photo with their phone. And Receipt Bank will extract data from receipts, invoices, expenses, and bills, connecting to leading accounting software, giving you real-time data you can advise your clients with. Our practice platform takes your productivity to the next level, showing you how quickly items are being processed and how you can be more efficient. Receipt Bank will radically transform your practice. Go from 10 clients per bookkeeper to one for every 20, 30, or even 40 clients per bookkeeper. Take on more clients and generate more revenue, all without increasing your overheads. To see how Receipt Bank can make your practice more profitable, request a call from one of our friendly team today. Receipt Bank, effortless bookkeeping.
Hi, we're back. And the first CPE code for this session should be appearing on the bottom of your screen right now, so be sure to write that down if you need CPE credit for this session. So we were just talking about pain points and problems in our business life that can conceivably be solved by apps. So we thought we'd just talk about some of the problems that we've encountered or that we know of clients or customers that have encountered that we've learned of solutions for, and kind of share some of those problems and solutions that we've found.
Cool.
So, favorite apps.
Let's just go with one of the big challenges that we see in accounting firm is data entry. An enormous amount of time spent keying, whether it's a tax return, whether it's keying the accounting software, just an enormous amount of time spent keying data. So if firms aren't using an OCR, optical character recognition type software, I think they're losing out on a huge opportunity to save time and money.
Another example I'd give, which is down a different track, but it's a very simple. I'm a big proponent of low-hanging fruit when it comes to apps. And one of my favorite apps to introduce to accounting professionals is the password keepers. And because it kind of is a twofer. One is a password keeper can really help to provide a more secure environment for managing all your login credentials. Because let's face it, a lot of people have bad habits when how they document their credentials and where they keep them and such. So you kind of improve security over your applications, your cloud applications, and your staff will love it because they don't have to remember their passwords anymore, and they can make them very complex. And so it's a classic example of a simple application that can have a lot of utility in your firm.
And they really do. I mean, it's because I've been using those for a while now, and more I've started to just allow them to create that random generated password that's hyper secure, that's 16 digits, random characters, random numbers. I can't remember it, but it's in there, and I'm done with it. But to Damien's point, especially going back to that keying in data, I mean, OCR, whether it's the monthly data for bookkeeping, tax returns, the 1040 source documents, linking from the corporate trial balance program to the tax program, the data entry has just gone away, and we need to embrace that as firms and realize the computer's won. The computer's not perfect, but it's more accurate than your staff accountants were never perfect either. And being okay with that and learning those new skills and how do we leverage that, because if we keep relying on manual data entry, it forever caps what we can do.
It does, and it limits how much we can grow, but also how much the firm can grow, but also how much as a professional we can grow. Because if I'm spending all this time keying data, there's no opportunity to move up the value chain. Debits and credits have still got to get done. So how do we leverage technology like Receipt Bank for your self-employed or for your business clients? How do you leverage that technology so that the data entry, that role changes from physically entering data to reviewing the data and watching it flow from the source document over to the end location, whether that's the accounting software or the tax software.
And kind of tagging on to the Receipt Bank application, if you look at your firm, your practice, and look at your clients, everybody deals with expense management, expense reporting. That's an area where you're dealing with receipts, you've got to record the transactions, and there's a lot of inefficiencies in organizations in that whole process. So if you can introduce some automation in your expense management, I think you'll find that that'll be very well received by all parties involved.
And sometimes it also involves training the client of, hey, no matter what tool you're using to scan this in, OCR and get in there, there's things that work very well for that, and there's things that don't. And if your client sticks with the non-traditional things, the handwritten things, the sloppy notes, why isn't it working for my clients? Well, train your client, help them put systems in to get it there. Otherwise, if your clients are gonna handwrite stuff forever, you're forever stuck on that bottom rung of the value chain and you can't move up. Let's get them on board. And if they won't, maybe they're not the right client for you as a firm to go forward because you're ever going to be stuck at that bottom rung.
But I think as well, what's critically important is that we communicate effectively to the client. Because if you go to the client and you say, I want you to start using this receipt bank because it's going to make me more efficient, the client's probably not going to respond so positively. But if we go to the client, we talk to the client about, I need you to start using this application called Receipt Bank. It's going to help you go paperless. It's going to help disaster-proof your business. It's going to help audit-proof your business. It means that we get the information off you, so we stop nagging you. So what's in it for the client as we're communicating this app? So the OCR has a value prop for a firm, but the actual application has a different value prop for the client. And I think that the firms need to make sure that they're communicating in those terms, what's in it for the client to get them to adopt the technology.
And I think that value prop can really come back to, okay, before you paid me as a firm to enter data. And that was all you could afford was to enter data. Well, now if we take that fee, we reduce 90% of it. Now that was replaced, you can pay me to be your advisor. You can pay me to help you grow your business. You can pay me to help you with your actual pain points. And your fee stays the same. Or maybe it goes up a little bit, but what you're getting out of it, the clients love. Where before, yeah, I need to know where things stand. I need you to pay me to get my tax return done. But if I can pay you for that much lower rate and pay you for those advisory services, and they love it all day long. They couldn't be happier.
Absolutely.
I think just to expand on Damien's point is that with any application, I mean, there's so many good applications for technology today in your firm and in your clients that it should start with, let's understand what the benefit is to the people involved. Like in your case, both the firm and the client. And so the more you can communicate that, then you just have a much better chance of a successful deployment of it too, because they'll see there's a, what's the end game for it all.
Absolutely.
I agree, and like we were talking about in the previous session, if you attended that, we were talking about the value of it, of the solution to the client or the customer, as opposed to just here's your tax return. You know, but what value can we bring? And by making our practice more efficient, we can start spending time on doing more value-oriented things. What are just some of your favorite, just like little apps that you feel like you can't live without, that you turn to on your phone and it's just so handy, business or not, just the things that you absolutely think are delightfully productive?
Given that I was in Toronto, Austin, and now Dallas this week, flight stats. So I can find out where my next gate is and if something's on time or something's delayed. And because if something's delayed, and I need to know that immediately so that we can get the follow-up flight done. So flight stats is one of my go-tos, and it's probably always in the most used app section of the phone.
Yeah, any travel management app for sure is a value for those of us who travel a lot. In our business side of things, as an organization, we've really had very good success with electronic signature software. I think we talked a little about it in an earlier session, but there's good solutions out there, and if you find yourself sending a lot of documents out as email attachments and asking the recipient, like your client, to download them and fill them out, that's just very inefficient. And if you look into the electronic signature software, it's relatively inexpensive, and it'll simplify your life, and it'll have benefit to your clients because it just makes that whole process of document approval a lot more efficient.
So for me, between traveling, moving around, doing different things, Evernote for me is my go-to all the time. It's where I capture all my knowledge, I write things down, I save articles there, I look for them. I really couldn't survive without it. I used to always carry a bunch of pads of paper with me for different topics, and now it's always in Evernote, and whether it's my phone, my iPad, my Surface, no matter where I am in the world, it's always there, and I can always get to it.
I think Zoom and Slack are probably the two main ones that we use for communicating. So it's wonderful. We would do coaching and implementation with our accounting partners. It's really interesting to see the difference when you're on the phone and you can't see them versus on Zoom and you can see them face to face. So the implementation calls went infinitely better because there was accountability. You could look someone in the eye wherever they were, wherever you were. And Slack is not the same, but very similar in that I'm able to communicate internally within Receipt Bank across all locations, and then also able to communicate with clients, invite them to specific Slack channels so that we can be communicating with them and have a vibrant conversation. Takes it out of email. Anything that's important I can archive appropriately, but the constant back and forth is much simpler through something like Slack, or whether it's on my my iPhone or whether it's in my laptop. And so those two apps from a communication and interaction with client standpoint have made a huge difference.
Yeah, I would certainly second that. I mean, just the whole concept of doing online meetings with your clients, and especially if you have the webcam going so you can make it more interactive and see the body language. I mean, you can eliminate a lot of travel time, and you're not, you can arrange meetings or conversation with clients that's more convenient to them. So it's a win-win situation in terms of travel efficiency for your staff and making it more convenient for the clients to participate at times that are good for them. So definitely a big component of that.
Yeah, and video conferencing has just become huge. It's really taken off in the past couple of years. I mean, nowadays almost everything I do remotely is via video conference. How can I see them? How can I interact with them? And we're seeing that trend. The younger generations, it's what they know. It's what they expect. I see with my daughter, she's 3. She doesn't understand a phone call that's just audio. If me and my wife have a phone call, she's like waving and saying like, why can't I see daddy? And like to her, it's just FaceTime. FaceTime is everything. And there is no audio phone call. It's video and audio constantly, and that's where the world's going. So we got to be okay with that.
And also, I think it's that younger generation. But I think what I'm really liking seeing is it's also the older generation embracing it completely. And so often a lot of people, particularly in accounting firms, they immediately put up the barrier. Oh, the client won't do that. They'll never do that. But I've seen plenty of grandparents, my parents, with Instagram accounts using FaceTime. So there's no reason that without the right education, without the right training, they can't be using these apps as well. And I think it's just a barrier that we put up to say, oh, they're not interested in apps. Yeah.
Well, you have a great point there with like the grandparents that have embraced Facebook and FaceTime and video conference for those reasons. If they want to connect with their younger kids and their grandkids, and that video conferencing allowed them to do it. So yeah, they're using it personally. And we say at the work, they can't. They can't do that. And then they come to the office and say, yeah, I was FaceTiming with our grandkids yesterday. It was amazing. Like, you should try that, CPA. Like, you should try FaceTime sometime. Like they think you're that far backwards. Like,
I think that one difference is you'll find with the older generation, people who are learning apps, who are taught an app, their reaction is that they're entranced. It's like magic.
Yeah.
And with younger people, it's like, well, of course.
Yeah.
No, it's not even an issue.
And one of our accounting partners, he's retiring. He's the managing partner. He's retiring. He's the #1 sales rainmaker for the firm. He gets out. He takes the client to lunch, snaps a picture of the receipt, then throws the receipt away. The client sitting there thinking, my goodness, what are you doing? You're the accountant and you're constantly nagging me to keep track of everything. And he says, well, we've just implemented Receipt Bank, and we've basically, we mean that we now no longer have to hold on to all of that paper. Would you be interested in finding out more? And just when the accountants embrace the technology themselves, they can just promote it and implement it with their clients much more effectively than if they're just on the sidelines talking about it.
Yeah, it's very powerful, and they show that they're actually applying the technology, no question.
because we all have our phones with us all the time anyways, and it's so easy to just snap the picture. And the technology with the camera to snap that picture, OCR, recognize it from that is phenomenal. I remember back in the day with auditing, it was, take a scanner with you. I'm sure you remember that, John. Your accounting firm was okay, get a mobile scanner, go on the field with it. And now
Page a minute or something?
Yeah, now the cell phones are really can do as much as that mobile scanner. It's like, why would I?
A lot easier, yeah.
Why would you tell a firm to buy mobile scanners? You've all got a mobile scanner
Right in your pocket.
in your pocket.
In your pocket, yeah.
Well, a related app, one of my favorite apps is FaxBurner, which I keep on my phone. I can take a picture of any document and fax it to any fax machine. And I mean, how frustrating is it when the IRS wants a 2848 or something? You have to go
When you have to fax
print it out
the
and
IRS
fax
is
it to
the only
them,
one that
or if
to
you don't
fax
even
it to.
have a fax machine anymore. But you can just snap a picture and fax. It gives you a phone number that you use for the moment, and or you can buy an account with a phone number there if you want. But it's just so simple. I love it.
I was gonna say, Gail, what is a fax machine again?
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
Yep. So we have a poll that we've listed up on the screen. So if you want to go to our polling software, it's slido.com, SLIDO.com. And the question we're asking is, what is your favorite productivity app? So we'd like to have you, you can do that on your phone while you're watching this on your computer, so you don't have to leave this session, but just enter your favorite productivity app. When you go to slido.com, the code is ES, as in ensuring success, ES 2017 to access the app, and then just list your favorite productivity app. And if you just list the app, we don't need a description of it. I think I can get this app that I'm using to create a word cloud for us when we've got a whole bunch of these posted. So Slido.com if you'd like to list your favorite productivity app. Okay, and I think we're gonna, while people are starting to do that, we're gonna take a quick break and do our next CPE code. So, and we have a commercial break from Receipt Bank as well. So we'll see that second bit of information from Receipt Bank and then follow that up with your second CPE code. We'll see you in a minute.
One of the hardest challenges as a business owner is time management and wearing many hats. Back in 2008, I was short of help. I was doing the bookkeeping, customer service, being the tech, so on and so forth, and I could not handle it all. My name is Corey Nguyen. I'm the owner of Moran Auto Center. I was 2 years behind on my books, but when I hired Kim and utilized QuickBooks and Receipt Bank, that's when my business started turning around.
He just had paperwork everywhere. I mean, it was just stacks and stacks of paperwork. Now, Corey takes the photo through Receipt Bank. It automatically goes to Receipt Bank, it reads it, it presents it. All I do is just review it, hit send, and it's in QuickBooks.
Receipt Bank and QuickBooks have saved me an enormous amount of time. I use that time to educate my customer, to build a trust or a bond with them in order to make my business more successful. In the past couple of months, I've been able to hire more guys because of the money I saved. Now that we're using QuickBooks Online and Receipt Bank, I'm able to spend time with my customers as needed, and I'm able to spend more time with my family. When I come here every morning now, I'm ready to take on the day because I don't have to worry about the clutter of paperwork that sits on my desk all the time.
Hi, we're back. Welcome back. And if you check on the bottom of your screen, you'll see the second CPE code for this session. So if you're off doing our poll, be sure to get back to your screen so you can see the CPE code and save it in case you need CPE credit for this session. We have favorite apps pouring in on our poll right now. So you can, if you're doing the poll yourself, you can see the word cloud that's forming. I think we're going to post it on the screen as well. But right now, Mile IQ is the winner, followed by Evernote, OneNote, Google, Slack. But I've got, so far, about 100 of these here. So there are tons of apps that people love. Blackjack Trainer Pro. Okay. Okay.
That's definitely a non-traditional accounting app
Exactly.
right there.
Might be a productivity hack.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about accountants and their clients and how accountants can recognize when clients are in need of an app solution and then how they can go about helping their client find that.
Well, I think just getting out to the client and getting into their workspace, and as we saw in that introduction to Receipt Bank, the accountant went out to the client and just saw them drowning in paperwork. So how can we help them solve that problem? So getting out to our clients, looking at their processes and identifying their key pain points. And we were able to see that the accountant got out there, saw that Corey had an enormous amount of paperwork there, was struggling to get the accounting done. So that was the place that she started to get some early yardage with the client. So I think the best tip is just to get out to your clients and have a look at their processes. I think you mentioned that just at the start in terms of workflow processes. Get out there and have a look.
Yeah, I would second that for sure. I mean, go out to your clients and spend a day with them, maybe organize them by a process group, so accounting, tax, et cetera. lay out the steps and ask them, okay, where are the bottlenecks? Where are you spending a lot of time? And you don't have to have the answers for them there. You say, we're just gathering information, and we're going to come back with a little summary report and say, hey, for this step, we might recommend these 3 apps, and just come up with a list of them. Then they have the opportunity to pick and choose what they think is going to help them the best. But understanding their processes, you're going to find the pain points pretty quickly.
And it's a great way to reach out to your clients and touch them and interact with them. You're always struggling now, how do we have more touches with our clients throughout the year? Just go sit with them for a couple hours, half a day, and understand, what do you do? What's your challenges running your business? Because your challenge running your business isn't just your tax return. What's your daily challenge, and what solutions can we put into place? So one of the best things ever for a client was a small client, lawn and landscape business, and he was just overwhelmed. It was just him, and he couldn't quote the jobs and invoice it and do the billing and all those things. It took forever. And he said, I just can't do it anymore. So we went out and we found an app that allowed him to run his business from his phone. And now he can generate all the invoices with a couple of clicks of the button. All the customers get emailed. They get the email, click pay the bill. It comes back to the credit card the next day. And he said, yeah, it changed my life. Like he didn't want to pay that credit card fee. And now he says, greatest thing I ever did was got an app that runs my business with a couple clicks, it's done, and I get paid by credit card, and it changed my life. And that's the power we can provide. And it's not that tax return, it's that technology solution that's out there.
And I would push back and to you say, here are 3 options that might solve this problem. What you've learned with that app, who are more clients in our client base that we can show this app to and deliver this app to and become an expert in the app? I think, as we said, we can go in and have a look at our clients' businesses. The accounting processes is the perfect place for us to start. And what I would encourage accounting firms to think about is developing that core stack of applications that solve the same problems in all of your clients. All of your businesses have expenses. They all struggle with managing the paper. They all struggle with getting the information to you. So why don't we develop a tech stack that enables that we can roll out to more and more clients? And if we're in a niche, if we're in dental practices or veterinarians, then we can roll that technology stack out to more and more clients. And I think that's something to be thinking about, is what are the problems that all of our clients have? And managing that paper, getting the information to you in a timely manner, we can solve that for all of our clients with 1, 2, or 3 apps connected together.
Yeah, and the point is well taken, because the more you work with the same set of apps, you learn them better, and you can talk more intelligently with your clients about what the specific opportunities are to deploy it and the issues you might run into deploying it, and just be more of an expert in those apps. I totally agree with that.
Because I think that's a big challenge as well. I think on apps.com and the different app stores, there's thousands of applications out there, and so I think there's a little paralysis through analysis for accountants, because they think they have to know all of the apps before they can talk intelligently about them. But take a step back. What is the problem we're trying to solve? And then there's an app for that, as we learned from Apple however many years ago.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the great thing with Receipt Bank, is it's a little more universal. It doesn't necessarily matter the niche. Everybody has receipts. Everybody has expenses that they need to capture. That's what makes it a great one to say, across all of our niches, we're to use Receipt Bank for our clients. And that's what we recommend for our clients. And we're really well versed in it, and we can roll it out very successfully, very streamlined.
Yep.
And I was going to just expand on something that Garrett said earlier about his landscape client, is because Gail, you asked a question about how can you help your clients be more productive. Anything relative to helping them get cash or payment quicker, online payment, that would be key. That would be a key area that would make them more efficient, but they'll also like the benefit from a cash flow perspective, so be an area to focus on.
And some of their clients love too, because now today's day and age, no one's really writing a lot of checks. Personally, if I can get an email and click the button that says pay here, it's instant for me as a consumer to just click pay here. Oh, Apple Pay, push my thumb down, done. Where if I get something in the mail, I need to write a check, it sits and lingers longer. If I can deal with it immediately with a couple clicks and a thumbprint, done.
I basically had to write my rent check the other day, but then I found out that I'd run out of checks. It'd taken me 3 years to burn, because I only wrote 1 check a month, and that was my rent check. And so now I have to spend another $15 to get another set of checks to write the rent check. So every month I complain to the landlord, why aren't we doing this electronically? This astounds me. But I'm headed off to the bank to get that checkbook when I get back to DC.
All right, we still have apps coming in on Slido.com, and I think I may have planted a seed because the Blackjack app is gaining in popularity.
Oh, good.
We do also, you'll notice if you go to Slido.com, you can post questions to us as well, and we do have some questions that came in there. One person asked, what e-signature apps do you recommend for tax prep? Guys have any that you'd like to suggest?
Probably your wheelhouse?
Yeah, when I was speaking earlier about e-signature, I was not talking so much about the e-file e-signature, because that's a different animal all of itself. But in terms of generic document signature, you've got DocuSign and EchoSign are probably the two biggest players out there, and you could, just probably close your eyes and pick one, and they both work very much the same way. E-file signature, I'm not as versed in that, so I don't really have a particular.
I think of CPA SafeSend from CPAPracticeAdvisor is one that I've
yeah.
heard very popular, and I think that leverages EchoSign or someone else's technology, but it's all around that e-signature for the 7216 and for the different
so
IRS.
The biggest thing with the IRS signatures is the IRS requires KBA, knowledge-based authentication. So you can't just use an off-the-shelf program like EchoSign or DocuSign. The other part, a lot of them, you can get these bundles with your tax provider where to do the KBA, they've got to validate this information with, I think it's like 4 or 5 security questions, where when it's bundled with your tax software, it automatically pulls that data, the name, address, social security number, out of the tax software, where some of the third parties, they say you can do this and you need to call the client and ask them 5 security questions, and then your admin types it in. That's horribly inefficient. I mean, that's just a waste of time. And the client's calling you saying, what's my favorite dog? No, just bundle it with your tax software.
Yeah.
You have that data in there, feed it together. It's a seamless solution. And a lot of times they leverage EchoSign, DocuSign, AssureSign, one of those on the back end anyways under somebody else's umbrella. So for the tax returns, stick with your software provider. It makes that KBA point seamless. And I think almost every state now accepts electronic signatures. I think New York's like the last state that's just holding it up. Yeah.
We have someone asking if you all can recommend an Outlook add-on which allows the accountant to text clients a reminder of their appointment.
I haven't used Outlook in years, so I'm out, sorry.
You can actually do that in Outlook native with the rules feature and quick steps. There's a couple features within Outlook that you can actually forward your emails. So I guess I'd have to see if you could forward your appointments as a text message to a phone. So you might not have to get an add-on app for that.
Okay.
Yeah, probably just you reach out to John or just kind of Google a lot of this. Google, how do I, calendar reminder comes up, send a text message to my client to do this.
Yeah, there's plenty of services out there, so that will integrate with Gmail or integrate with Outlook or whatever the email clients are.
Okay, we have another question about client relations, and the question is, how do you get your client to actually remember to use the apps? I get clients set up and excited to use it, but then they don't use it. And I think even the bigger question is, how do you sort of monitor the client's app activity after you've got it established? And do they need upgrades, or do they need a new app, or have they stopped using it? Or any advice in that regard?
Yeah, I would be looking for an application that has that management dashboard that sits over the top so you can see all of your clients. You would want to have some metrics that sit over that. So our practice platform, for example, has an indication of this client hasn't submitted, or this was the last date that the client submitted. And so if they've taken more than 7 days to get something, an alert is immediately created. So at a glance, you can sort by who hasn't submitted in the last 7 days and get on top of them. You can send them an SMS reminder. We have another indicator in there that says average client delay. So on average, it's taking the client 20 days to get information to us. Why? Is it a training issue? Is it a people issue? So that management dashboard or our practice platform is key. So be looking for the applications that do have a management dashboard that you're able to manage all of your clients at a glance. I'd say that's one of the key things to be thinking about.
I think another point is to make sure that when you recommend an app and you help them deploy it, is that there's training. Because if they're not well versed in training, then it's a struggle for them to use the app, and they say, well, gosh, this is more efficient to do it the way I always used to do it. They go back to the old ways. So make sure you've got a good training program to go with it.
And that's why that management tool is so pivotal, to be able to look and see what's going on. And you provide that initial training, and you can see, okay, these 10 clients have fully embraced it. They're uploading documents every day. Okay. These 5, since I left, haven't done anything. I need to go visit those 5 and help them embrace this and help them make that change. So it's a real lasting change, and they embrace it, because once they get used to it, they're going to appreciate it. But it's that monitoring that makes it so much easier versus just kind of guessing or doing the shotgun approach. But really help your clients get over this. Work with your clients to embrace this. You're going to be happier. Your clients are going to be happier. They're going to at one point turn around and say, wow, this is way easier than when I used to like accumulate this huge box and bring it to you, and then you complain and you ask me questions, what happened back in January.
And then
I
charge
said,
me through the nose for it.
Yeah, and then you said, why'd my bill go up?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
Remember that box of stuff from January and all those questions? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think, and we had another comment about apps gone bad, and I think the whole concept of monitoring your client activity with that is going to help make sure that you stay on top of whatever's going wrong with client apps or apps that need to be replaced. And I think, Damien, you brought up the point of there being, more than 1,000 apps in the various app stores out there, and obviously accountants can't be expected to know them all, but how do they even sort through the ones that are there? What's the advice for finding the right apps?
Well, I think first of all, back to that original point is what is the function that we're trying to solve, the problem that we're trying to solve. So at least narrow our focus, and then given that the vast audience would be accountants, tax professionals, and bookkeepers, focus on ones that have programs specifically for accountants, tax professionals, and bookkeepers. That will narrow the field again, and then get onto the various review websites, whether it's apps.com or Xero's Marketplace, the Google Play Store. Look at what other people are saying about the application. And then I think the other aspect of it is I've seen a flourishing of online communities around technology and accounting-specific technology. And so I participate in Facebook, LinkedIn groups, and there's an enormous amount of conversation that goes on about what's the best for this, how do we implement this, how do we resolve this issue. So I think the App Store is one for the reviews, but then look at some of those online communities that you can exchange and share information.
Right, there are a ton of Facebook communities that focus on different areas of apps or technology or particular accounting programs, and you just search for Facebook groups or Facebook pages and you can find them and join, and the conversations are very, very active. And if you post a question about how do I use this app or what's a great app for solving this problem, you're going to get experts in there telling you exactly what you need to know.
Yeah, it's always amazed me how much people are willing to share their expertise
Yeah.
online. It's like they kind of want to just show off their knowledge. It's great. I mean, you just take advantage of that.
Exactly.
and another great way to try these things out, I kind of think of like Receipt Bank and a great partner of Bill.com of, okay, for you and your firm, use Receipt Bank, use Bill.com internally.
Yep.
Get to know it, use it, make it your life easier. That way when you go out to talk to your clients, you can say, no, we as a firm use this. We know how much this did for our firm and helped us. Use it internally. Some of those, they can make your client's life easier, but they can make our lives easier too. So use them for yourself, get to know them, get to understand them, reap those benefits, and then spread that word to your clients.
Okay, we're ready to take one more break to learn a little bit more about our sponsor for this session, Receipt Bank, and then to come back and get your third CPE code. So don't go away. We'll be back in about a minute.
One Tap Receipts is a brand new app from Receipt Bank which allows you to work more efficiently with your sole trader clients.
I can keep track of clients throughout the whole year. I can see what receipts and expenses they're putting on there, if they're actually using the app, and if not, I can give them a call to check everything's all right, and if there are any issues, then we can sort them out there and then in the year. Normally, everyone would be coming, as accountants know, towards the end of the year, January if you let them, just bringing in bags of receipts, trying to sort that out, or them trying to do it on Excel spreadsheets. Using the app, they're up to date, so it means that we can start doing people's tax returns immediately in the new tax year, which means we can take on more clients, and it's taking a lot less time as well, so we're a lot more profitable.
It really is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Your client takes a photo of their receipts, One Tap extracts the data, and it's automatically sent to you for review.
The clients love using the app because they use it throughout the year, so they can just take a picture of a receipt or an expense and then just throw this away. And it also means that they don't miss anything or it gets mislaid, because as soon as they've taken a picture of it, it's captured there forever. It's brilliant for accountants because traditionally they don't like taking on sole traders. They can be quite hard work, but by using the One Tap app, they take receipts throughout the year. It makes it easier for us, it makes them a lot more profitable, and they're fast becoming our favourite client.
Profitable workflows, instant data, better relationships.
Welcome back. On the bottom of your screen, you should see the third CPE code for this session. So be sure to write that down if you're planning on claiming CPE for this session. If you have any problems at all tech-wise, be sure to contact us at info@ensuringsuccess.com. I saw we had a couple tech questions come in on the Slido app, and those questions come in anonymously, so I can't answer them. So you have to go through info@ensuringsuccess.com if you want if you need an individual answer to a particular question. And we just, in our last few minutes, we did have a question come in about training on apps, and I think training is a great opportunity for accountants to provide a value-added service for their clients. And the question was, do you feel it's best to train on apps face-to-face or send videos from the app help sources? I think we know the answer to that, right?
I think face-to-face or Zoom is probably the best way to do it. There's no reason why you can't be on board. We're sitting here in Dallas. We can be onboarding a client in California. There's no problems by doing it face-to-face. And then I think you use the apps, videos and Help Center as the supporting resources. But just to get that first initial experience as a positive one, I would always go with a face-to-face, whether that's in person or a Zoom meeting.
Yeah, I think the advantage of doing it like in a Zoom meeting is most everyone has dual monitors, so you can be presenting on one screen and then they can actually apply it while you're talking to them and showing them. Say, okay, now I want you to do this right now while we're going through this.
Yeah, so you can send an SMS to the client to get them onboarded with Receipt Bank. So you can be having the meeting with them. I've just sent you the SMS, just heard it, follow the instructions, take a photo of whatever's on your desk. We're off to the races. So anything that you can do to make it short, sharp, and practical is going to have a huge impact on the take-up of the experience.
And the other nice part of it, if you use a Zoom meeting, a GoToMeeting, WebEx, whatever it is, you can also record that.
Right.
Okay, you're out there, you're doing it. Say you spend 2 hours doing it, you can record that, give it to the client when they have questions a day, a week, a month later. Okay, when you have those questions, watch the video. It's there for you. When you're live in person, you're not going to like set your phone up in the corner and like hit record. I mean, you could, but that's the nice thing about those Zoom GoToMeetings. You can record that and save those. You've already captured that knowledge. You don't have to recreate it every time. It's there for it to be looked back upon.
And then I think you can create battle cards and cheat sheets for your clients. I think when you're examining apps, as that previous question, look at the support they provide to your customers. Look at the support they provide to you as the accountant. Make sure there's a 24/7 help desk. Make sure there's a self-service guide, a chat function. These are things that will differentiate whether or not I want to partner with this particular application. Look at their support, look at their response times, and I think that's a critical part of using them to support the training and implementation with your clients.
Okay, we also did have a comment come in from someone who said, I love Damien's accent.
Oh, and that's anonymous. That's such a shame. Thank you.
It is, yeah. Probably just as well. So we're kind of wrapping up almost the end of the hour. So any final thoughts that the three of you have in the apps department?
Go for it.
I'd probably say just embrace it. We all use apps every day on our phone, and you know, it's not, the app's never going to replace the tax software or the auditing software. But there's so many other non-traditional things it's going to do for you. Embrace that. Love it. It's going to make our life easier, whether it's Evernote, the mileage program, Receipt Bank, whatever they are. Use it, love it, embrace it, and allow it to make your life easier. There's tools out there.
Yeah, and there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of apps, so you want to be careful you don't try to do too much too fast. Garrett talked about using Evernote. I use OneNote. That's a classic application that is really easy to use, and the more you use those, the more utility you find. So you don't have to try to be a master of an entire app initially. Just kind of work your way into more advanced features within the app as you get more comfortable with it.
Yeah, I would suggest just look at the processes and the activities in your firm and identify where are the big pain points, where are the big time sucks, and then look for the applications that will help you resolve that. So if we go back to productivity, which is what we were talking about initially, I only have a certain number of hours in the day, so how can I leverage technology, leverage apps to make me more productive? And if I'm spending time keying data, if I'm spending time organizing bits of paper that my clients have bought in a shoebox, there immediately is a time suck, and we can help our firm become much more productive. But I think the key thing is just take that step back and say, where are we spending or wasting so much time? And then look for the apps that will able to solve that.
All right, excellent. Thank you all very much, and thank you all very much for attending this session. And we will be back with you at the top of the hour with our next session, which is how to help clients manage their sales tax risk. So don't go away. We will see you soon.